And with that, let's get to talk to Susie. Susie, her is calling from Florida, and she wants to talk about feng shui. Um, Susie, what's on your mind?
Hi. Yes. Back in the late 90s, I did my master's thesis in educational leadership on feng shui. And not many people were very familiar with it back then, and it's more commonly known now. But I found the principles of feng shui applied in my elementary classroom to be really effective. And I'm not sure how much y'all know about the feng shui
Why don't you give
stuff,
us
but
a crash course, sort of 30 seconds, 1 minute thing for us
okay,
and for
yeah,
the audience?
all right. It basically it's based on room arrangement and colors in the room and lighting to help change the I hate to use this word, but to change the energy and feel of a room. And I found the methods doing all the research I had to do for my thesis. I found them very effective for just creating a calmer environment that that myself and my students benefited from.
Okay.
Does that
Um,
help?
so feng shui is your defining it as basically arranging what objects in a room?
Furniture placement, um,
Yes,
so that
James.
uh, my like the line of eyesight, the way the desks are set up, the way the
Mhm.
lighting is done, colors
Mhm.
used in the room, just like and it's been known for a long time in psychology that colors can have an effect on people's moods. Like fast food
Sure.
restaurants all use red, orange, and yellow that stimulate appetite, and then the
Sure.
cooler colors tend to be more calming, which is those are some of the
So
factors that play into feng shui.
so you say you've noticed an effect in your career in education,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
What do you attribute that to?
Um, colors and room arrangement so that you
Mhm.
create a good flow pattern, a traffic pattern for walking, and even in the home, feng shui principles applied in the home. Like if you have a home office, it's best not to set your computer desk up where your back is to the door. Same as the
Why do
principal
you
in your bedroom.
why do you think that
You
is?
want your
For
bed
example.
to be facing the door, because if your back is to the door of your office or to the side of your side of vision in your bedroom, it can make you more easily startled when someone walks in.
So do
And
you think
I'm
it has
kind
anything to do with the flow of energy?
that's a toughie because it talks about your chi, your energy you put out,
Right.
and it's like just like when I can kind of walk into a room and you can just kind of feel if people you walk into a room and you can kind of feel the tension in the room, or if it's a good setting, or if the furniture
Mhm.
arrangement is made where you're walking in the door and then you have to stop and go around a piece of furniture, whereas if you just move it a little bit, you have a better traffic flow. Those kind of principles.
Kelly, what do you
Can I
think?
can I well, Susie, I have to ask you a question because when you were describing energy, right, and an energy flow, and then you talked about moving furniture, and it seemed like it had nothing to do with any type of energy flow. It just was moving something out of the way, so it made it easier for people to walk through the room. And I'm wondering, when you use the word energy, what exactly are you describing? Like, if you look at the definition of energy, it's the capacity to do work. So if this energy is doing work, if anything is doing work, we can measure the amount of work that's being done. So what work is this energy doing, and how can we measure that work?
I guess I guess I should have. And it sounds like woo, and I'm an atheist. I don't believe in magic, but it's more um, vibes you get. You know, even if you go into like a new restaurant and it just doesn't, the decor or something just doesn't feel right. And
So are you talking about your personal feelings to the environment?
yes, but I
Okay,
but
now do you
also
think that, wait, hear me out, please. If do you think that I would have this, if in the same environment, same place, same time, that I would have the same feelings about that environment?
yes, because I used to have a lot of parents and administrators that would walk into my room and they would go, "It's so peaceful in here," and I felt like that was kind of reaffirming my method of using color and arrangement of
Do
the
you,
desk and where my desk was, and your back not to the
I
door,
I
and
do you think it's
I know we
possible, Susie, that perhaps those people were responding not to the room, but to you feeling comfortable in the room that you set up in a way that was comfortable to you? And they get, you know, like, as we were discussing earlier on the show, humans are social creatures. We pick up on a lot of social cues subconsciously or unconsciously, and so, like, I totally get what you mean about, like, the vibe of a place, or you can feel the tension in a room. I think that feeling that we get is all our subconscious picking up on cues that we're not consciously aware of. But if you were to study them in a scientific fashion, you would be able to identify, physical characteristics. Like, someone is holding their body in a very tense fashion. They have their arms crossed or something, and it's you don't necessarily pick out that specific thing, but you get a vague sense that there's tension in the room. I think that that's perhaps what you're picking up on. What do you think about that?
uh, yes, certainly, but even if you go to like a party at someone's home, and if um, and a lot of it's used in interior design methods. You set up a conversational area with your couch and your chairs and your floor rug. Designating that as an area, and if it's like if you push if things are too far apart and people feel like that kind of like lessens a connection. So I feel
I
like
guess what
room
I'm trying to
arrangement.
say, Susie, is that I don't have a problem per se with, like, the idea that that the environment, the built environment, can affect how people interact with each other in that environment, or how people feel in that environment. I think they obviously your environment contributes to that. I just don't think it has anything to do with the flow of energy. Do you think that it has something to do with the flow of some form of energy, or is it just
Um,
like some of the stuff you're describing is, like Kelly said, you know, it's kind of obviously better to not have, like, a table obstructing, a walkway. And that has nothing to do with the flow of energy. It has to do with, like you were saying, Susie, the flow of, like, human traffic walking through a room. So do you think there's anything like supernatural or like special or something like that, or is it all just physical stuff?
No, I don't believe in the supernatural. So I do think it's just arranging an environment with colors and furniture placement that can either kind of be jarring and harsh versus calming and welcoming.
Hmm.
And that's what a lot of the
So
feng shui principles are.
I think what you're like, I've studied feng shui. It was actually kind of popular back in the 90s. It's really died off a lot since then. Um, there's reasons I believe. I'll get into those in a second. But I think what you're describing to me doesn't sound like traditional feng shui. It sounds like a newer age interpretation of these older ideas. Um, so I'm not sure that feng shui is the proper way to talk about your colors and moving furniture out of the way, right? Feng shui has more to do with the flow, like putting up mirrors so that the energy flows through the house more readily, right? It can bounce around the mirrors, right? There's a lot of wind chimes that are used feng shui because they're good for producing energy, right? So I'm not sure that this is actual, like real feng shui, because that does rely on this unseen energy force that permeates through the household or the business area. So I'm not sure that we're talking about the same thing. And
Yeah,
and I know that they've
and
done studies on colors, and colors will definitely affect your mood. I know that. But environmental
yes.
psychologists have also done studies on feng shui, and they found that it did nothing. So
And you mean the
that's
traditional
why
feng shui like
I
you're
think you're
describing, Kelly,
confusing
right?
some psychological phenomena as feng shui that might not be feng shui, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and uh feng shui can get very deep and very heavy as far as your house facing the front of your house should face this direction, and you can really go deep into it, and and but my college professor had never heard of feng shui, and so he was thrilled with my thesis I did on it. But I had done research. This was early in the computer times, because with my bachelor's, I was using a card catalog at the library. That's how old I am. But um, just some of the principles of it, and maybe I've cherry picked it like people cherry pick the Bible. But many of the principles, I think, are very effective. Like you said, with color psychology, and 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 I've applied it in my home. But I don't believe that if you leave the toilet seat up, money's going to rush down the drain and you won't make money. Those
I
things.
mean,
You can't see the back door from the front door for the same reason money flows through the house. That's actually a feng shui thing.
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Susie, I don't think we have any real disagreements between us. I think it's just that what you're describing, I would call, uh, you know, interior design principles, good user experience design principles, things like this, um, and even like sort of common sense. And like Kelly said, this is a field of study, right? Like interior design, but also environmental psychology. These are designed spaces, um, and I think I probably agree with Kelly that calling it feng shui is maybe uh, misrepresenting or adding on baggage that you don't necessarily want. I don't know. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, I think you're correct, and I think to me that idea of like adding feng shui into it is turning it into some magical mystical thing. And
Yeah.
a lot of what, like I said, like, what a lot of what you described seemed to me to be known scientific psychological principles that we fully understand. There's nothing magical or mystical about it at all, like color
Right.
psychology.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but hey, interesting call. So thanks, Susie, for the call.